Hi, good afternoon. This is Thorn from Dream Design and the Holder Group. We at Dream Design, man, we are really interested in being a poster child for the designing of miraculous occurrences within the lives of people and companies. Okay. Why are we interested in this? Well, I will tell you, my personal interest is one, I have massive potential to recognize. Some people don't recognize the potential. Oh, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know. No, not me, not this one here. I can do anything, you know. Some people say you're confident, you're delusional, whatever you want to call it. I just feel I can do anything. I feel like I could be the greatest tennis player ever. If I just start doing it tomorrow, it might take me a year, it might take me 6 months, you know. I might need to go into a camp with Nadal. Whatever it takes, I could get it done. When I was released from the Philadelphia Union, it was a real moment of, it was for the very first time, it was a real moment of, oh, holy shit, I could do something else. You know, holy shit, I may want to do something else. You know, when I looked at the last year of my life and then the last 4 years before that, I asked the question, is this what I want to do? You know, and to be honest with you, looking at it now, I could have done it. I could have done some more difficult shiznaf to stay in the game and to progress through the ranks. You know, but you must ask yourself, when going after a particular feeling, you know, and we must differentiate between the thing or the job or the pinnacle that we're looking at to get to. I'm gonna get to that mountaintop over there. Yeah. I'm gonna do that. You really see that? That's good. You know, I call that the prize. Keep your eyes on the prize. Stop putting shit off. That's one of my slogans. It's real good to have that physical thing. Yeah, I'm gonna do that thing. I'm doing that thing. That's real awesome. What's very, very important as well is to know the feeling that you wanna experience, you know, because once you know that feeling, you can start conjuring that feeling now. You know, if you know you want to feel powerful, then you can immediately switch your car. You know, you get a big boy car like Tony. Switch your dress code. You know. Now, what do powerful people do? Ask yourself. If you want a feeling of power, let's just say that's something that I feel like people need. I think you need power. I don't think it's something that you want. I think you need power. I think you want to be able to go into a situation and sort it out. Fix it. I want to go in and say, hey, feed those people here. I take care of it. Got it. You know. Hey, what's going on with your house? It's leaking. Yeah, hello? Yeah, come sort this person's house down. That's power. You know, and that's just financial power. You know, we have other types of power. It's a power of influence, where you're wise as shit, you know, and you could step into a situation where a person is sobbing and they cry, oh God, I just lost my boy. You ask her, do you think he's in a better place? Was he suffering? You know, and then you go through a couple statements with a person and you change their state, their feeling, their existence, who they are right now in this moment. You could manipulate that. You could influence it. You could change that. That's power. You know, and to wield that type of power, it needs a combination of things. Okay, one, you have to have the know-how. You gotta make sense. You know, and sometimes sense may not be common sense. For example, extreme science and mathematics may not make sense to the common person. So you gotta make sense to the person that you're speaking to. That's the first thing. And to wield that range of control requires you gotta be a scholar. You know, you don't have to necessarily read every book, but you have to be such a good listener of what's going on around you that you're able to relate to many different people, types of states of mind. Okay, because that's the only thing that changes is the state of mind. You know, you take a person here now without any weapons and you know, and a low self-esteem. Anger will still arise, but this anger is quickly gonna either turn to depression or feeling like a victim. Okay, now you take the same person with the self-esteem as you, and you now arm them. Now you can arm them with a weapon, and see their state of mind change just right away. Their chest buck right up. Hey, you can't mess with me. I can kill you. You know, easy with the pull of a trigger. I own one of those now. And then you could arm somebody with know-how. You know, like I ask people all the time, do you know how to make $1 million? Mr. Know Everything. And if you do, are you on your way to doing it now? If that's something that you want. And if that is not something that you want, then why are you not an artist? You know, I always show people a simple equation. Okay, you say you don't like money, huh? So then why do you have a job? Oh, you need to pay the bills. I said, well, why don't you get better bills to pay? Why don't you get those expensive bills? You know, if why don't you not work then? You know, like, what is causing you to dislike money but still be involved in the system of getting it? Doesn't make sense. You know, so if you don't know how to make $1 million, start there. Start by saying, oh, I don't know shit. I don't know shit. Okay? I don't know. So, once you start with you don't know, then we could now introduce some information to you that could change your state, you know. Once your state is now a state of power, you can now define your dreams. You could now define your intentions. Sorry about the wind there. You could define your goals. And with a state of power, you could now take more massive and certain action. Now, you want to know why some people have the information and they don't take action? It's because their state does not allow for the level of confidence to exist within them, their state. They can have a lot of information, but the information means nothing to them if their state is one of weakness, if their state is one of being a victim, if their state is one of, I have no power. You need money to make money. I have no money. How am I going to start a business? Why would I leave my job to start a business? Why would I go do the work that I like? Why would I develop these skills for the career that I really enjoy? Because I can't control that. I was talking to a friend of mine last night. He said, man, I've dedicated so many years into it. I gotta finish. I got so much invested. And I say, you got so much of your thoughts invested. All the physical thing, people may laugh at me sometimes when I say, man, if I die today, I would have spent all my cash. You know, some people think that's foolish. And I think, well, how much cash do you walk around with? You know, cash is one thing. Value is another, you know, and I'm in the business of creating value, you know, and you sell some of this value, and some of this value you give as gifts to people, and some of this value you just keep as like your autograph, you know. Like, I've had the pleasure of having to autograph stuff for people that really, they frame my stuff and gloves and so on, you know. So to me, that's mine. That autograph, that sign, that brand, that's mine. And it's very particular, it's very special, it was created, it was manufactured from my heart for years. It was developed and it evolved, and now it's perfect, you know. And to me, that's art. To me, that's valuable. You know, it may be priceless. Like, you know, no ad agency is gonna come to me, hey, you could sign that thing, right, that you do all the time. We're gonna pay you XYZ to keep signing that. Celebrity, yeah, absolutely. But in my celebrity, I will never do that. Okay, I will never need to sell my autograph. You know, people will do that, no problem. But back to the whole purpose of this discussion. Sorry about the wind. I feel it on my face, so I know you guys are hearing it in the mic. Power. It's something that we need. There's a guy with a machine coming. Let me run away from him. You see him behind me? Can you see him? Yeah, you hear those birds? I'm gonna go hang out by those birds. So power. I wish I could interact. That's why I like Periscope on Twitter. So people could just interact with you while you're making your videos, you know. I think it's awesome, that Periscope thing, man. Because you make live videos, it's a live feed, people are getting real time, people can drop information in, drop questions for you. So if you're a speaker like myself, you could just continue to answer questions and go on. I got to build a whole brand on the Periscope that is very specific to what I do. And right now, the company, I was doing it under the company name, Dream Design, and it's the stuff I want to talk about. It gets outside of the range of what I want Dream Design to be. You know, I want Dream Design to be very specific. It's a consulting firm. It's radically innovative, and we help companies and individuals maximize their potential. So outside of that, this information is in tandem. Yes, it helps, but I want it to be two separate pieces of content. One about how stuff works, how the mind works, and then the Dream Design content, very specific principles and techniques to use. You know, I want to keep it like, okay, this is the consulting channel. So you will get consulting information, you will get very specific, organized information that you could write down and use and repeat and teach. So yeah. So this type of discussion here about power is more of a discussion. Power. We need power. I mean, we use the word power to talk about electricity. This guy sticking out here. I don't have these big drunks like Robert Nesta Marley. They're a little tiny here now, but about 5-6 years, I mean, big ones, man. It's gonna be my brand. There are a lot of dreadies out there, yes, but there's no dready like me out there doing anything that I'm doing now. You know, all the other dreadies are, you know, artists, singers, and so on, actors and models and these things. You know, I'm a revolutionary. I am here to not take the place of, and not to replace, and not to be a new one of, but to follow in the footsteps of our great leaders that have stood for a righteous, you know, and when I say righteous, man, it's just, please let me just say how open I am about that word. For me, righteous is anything a man wants to do that does not infringe upon the current state and future state of beings that live in the same place. Okay? So whatever you want to do, man, as long as it does not negatively impact the current state or the future state of everything that is existing in the same place, man. So I care just about this greenery here, because that provides a beautiful background, don't you think? Yeah, I'm nice and chocolatey, and yeah, but that wall in the back there is all brown. It's not alive like me. And that grass is beautifully green, so you have a nice contrast between my lovely chocolatey goodness and and the greenery. So why would you want to mess with the greenery? As It's very difficult to mess with the greenery too. Let's talk about power some more. As far as the creator, you know, let's just say there's a master designer that has designed things like that, our eye. That shit is complex. That's no random occurrence of pieces of material occurring. You can believe it if you want. I mean, no problem. You know, I think it's way more exciting if you have more control over things. If you think of things happen by chance, you know, then how much power would you feel? You know, if you say, well, you know, I came about as a result of shit just occurring randomly, then how much power do you feel in your intent, in your destiny? And your destiny may not have been created by a force that is outside yourself. It may have been created by a force that is yourself, that is much bigger than your age, you know, and much bigger than your physical body, you know. When I look at my life, and all the events that I've seen, they seem to have so much purpose in all of them, you know, and they all seem to tie together. You know, maybe it's because I'm looking at it that way, or maybe it's because all of my experiences is just one whole me, you know, just moving through. And if you plot it on a graph, it would just have been me stretching like a big worm and just moving about, you know, and then come to an end. So these things that we think are so separate and so distant and so different as experiences, good and bad, and this one was beneficial and this one helped me, and that person was influential, and this company did this for me, and I had a real breakthrough when I was at this place. And yeah, man, those things are great, you know, but all those things have tied right to you, and you are tied right into all those things. So there's no randomness occurring, and at the same time, you cannot really predict. So the no randomness is things are selected on purpose. You know, things have a real reason for occurring. Okay. Now the reason may not. People have this idea, and this is where people lose power. People have this idea that the reason is somebody else's reason, like a god. You know, and I say, great if you think that. Awesome. You know, as long as you allow this God to allow you to have power. You know, not to try to overthrow him. That's how we think as violent people, to overthrow or to be better. We compare. But if you think about power, you don't need to compare power. You don't need to say, oh, I have more or less power than the creator. You can say you have the same power and at a different stage. How about that? How does that make you feel? I have the same power as God, except that God is 6 billion, 1,000 trillion years old, and I'm just 30. I have the same power to create worlds like him, or her, or it, or the force, except that I'm young. If you accept that, you don't have to, it's not the truth or anything, you know. I'm saying it's all point of view to give you power, to give you the state of mind to go ahead and say, oh, I could do this. That stopped me. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. My dad was a lawyer. I want to be a fireman. I like fighting fires. I want to fly. You know, I want to be the first guy who has a built machine that's on my back, and I'm just taking off from here. Woohoo! Swoosh! Whatever it is you want. You know, there's 6 million people starving in Asia. I want to take care of 500,000 of those people this year with my company. Come, I'm going to do it. I'm going to create a phone that people could have on their wrist. I'm going to create a device that is capable of making things invisible. I'm going to create a stock that is non-existent that's going to cost millions of dollars. You know, people go ahead and do these things. So when we think about the power that a person is missing, or the power that is needed by everybody, power is not finite. You see, when people think about power, they think about rule. They think about ruler. They think about a powerful man telling the subjects what to do. That's not power. That's one form of dominance, okay? You know what real power is that one person having the power of influence as a leader, spiritual leader, as a shaman, as a as a scholar, having those people follow him, but not by law. This person is being selected as a leader. You know, so the power now got twisted. You know, and instead of real power, now we have manufactured power. So now you find that people can have power just by having a position in a company. People can have power just by having weapons. You know, people can have power just by having money. You know, so now power has become diluted, and people are finding themselves, because of the ideologies that has been forced into our minds, that they don't have power. Okay, and I'm gonna give you some classic examples of power and power runner away. These things scare power away. The first thing that scare power away is that you are insignificant, that you're nothing, that you're gonna die and just turn into dust, and your life would have just been to work, you know, and to take and to raise a young and to contribute some taxes to a fucking idea of a country. That's the most disempowering idea. The fact that you don't count. The fact that a royal son is more important and powerful than you, and that we need to protect the president's life as opposed to the life of the guy in the hood who's shooting against another guy. We need to protect the president more than we need to protect them. You know, that's what we've done. We have valued lives. People that are fighting in wars, their leader is weird. So we're gonna bomb a whole bunch of the people that are living in this country. Yeah, that's the premise that we operate under, and it's because the power have been stripped from people, and now we allow systems and corporations to dominate. Now let me say, I like the free market system, okay? What I don't like is the adjacent system of keeping people dumb, or restricting a certain type of education or information. So if you have the free market, but then you had open source information from childbirth, from when a child is born, this child has access to all cultures, all religion, all information, all doctrines, not to be bombarded, but where a person can make an intelligent sift through ideas and choose the very best of them, as opposed to growing up in cultures where ideas are dictated for you. A society dictates what's good, what's normal, what's acceptable. If you want to remain in this group, you got to behave, speak, dress, and have these beliefs. So the free market system benefits those with intelligence, and two different types of intelligence. One, the intelligence of the markets, meaning things that exist that you could commercially benefit from, and then the type of intelligence of power. Okay, how am I capable of creating such large conglomerates? How am I capable of creating such beautiful ideas that so many people follow? How am I capable of creating this movement, this group that people enjoy? You know, and that power it is sucked away from a person as they go through the system of failure, the system of you need a degree, the system of this is the stuff that is in the world, there's nothing else, just don't believe anything else from anybody, this is all that exists, the world is exactly like this, this is what happens when you are born, this is what happens when you die, this is what you should do between 9 and 5 p.m. And as a result of this, you find that very few people are able to use the intelligence available to be abundant or to be powerful. Okay, so one, you need power. Okay, if you don't have power, you're not gonna get the girl, you're not gonna get the job, you're not gonna own the company, you're not gonna get the followers. You need power, and not power to dominate, but power to influence, and power to believe and to complete things that you create in your head. Because once you create something, it exists in the realm that you created it, you know, in the realm of the thought. Like I imagine stuff and it's here, it's right here, it's in my field of thought. But to bring it into where it's like this physical leg here, You know, I need to go through some processes. And some people call this processes, you know, being tested and all this, whatever it is. It's processes. Yours would be different from mine. But you have to go through them. They're very different. You have very different lessons to learn to get the thing that we are seeing in our imagination. And we don't know how to bring it about. If you limit yourself to what you know, then recognize that they have trained you to not be powerful. So what you know are not necessarily going to create the big corporation, is it? Right? No, it's not. Because it's not coming from a place of absolute power. So recognize that you don't know how to. You don't know. You don't know how the great thing is going to happen. And I don't know either. But what I do know for a fact is that there's something much greater than my memory that is at work. There is something much greater than my discernment that is at work, or my prediction in the future. And that something ties in with my belief and my feeling and my confidence. And then, you know, I add to that the know-how and the habit of repetition and creating momentum and listening to the right things and the right people and moving through information as a student and so on. There's a whole bunch of stuff. But you got to start with, you need power. To become empowered, you need to recognize that look around. Just at one point in your life, just stand and just look. And what do you see? You see stuff. You never run out of stuff. You never reach a point in the earth where, holy shit, where's all this shit? Where's all this stuff? No, there's always stuff. There's always some pavement, some dirt, a tree, some water. There is always stuff. So if you're always surrounded by stuff and you are made of some stuff, then you could assert that stuff you're gonna use stuff, okay? And everything is stuff, okay? You are stuff. Your words is stuff. Your mind is stuff. You know, and your mind exists in here and here and here and so on, all around the body and further away. It's a part of all this stuff. It's like a big ocean we live in. And in this ocean, all these grass and buildings and me, it's like corals. A big heavy part of the ocean. Hard shit. You know, and the birds and planes and cars and these things, you know, are fishies and whales. Okay? But in the water, just like there's wavelengths of radio coming through this phone here, there are like plankton, very tiny little creatures they are stuff, and these little creatures, we could call them particles or frequencies, and they are designed to carry messages just like you carry a message. Just like I'm speaking English to you, some Englishman taught some people to speak this language, and now I'm speaking it to you. I'm carrying a message. Okay, I'm doing the same thing that everything else does. It carries your message. So in the sea that we live in the stuff that we can't see, your physical belief in who you are and what you're doing, what you're broadcasting, what you're wanting, they are little creatures called particles or frequencies that are carrying your message to where it needs to be heard. So right now, let's just say I need a program designer to come into my company, okay, and a software designer person, you know, and a social media people. I want these people to come in. Like I'm desiring that. These words are not coming up all the time. Oh, I want this, I want that. But in my heart, I'm looking at my company and I'm saying, yes, I'm not an expert at software design. Software design would be a real asset. There's open source software. How do I get somebody to team up with me to capitalize on this open source market? And this desire that I'm putting out, little creatures called frequencies or particles that are just as alive as you and the grass and the stone and the air, is taking these messages to everybody. And there are people that are able to interpret it because they're in the right state, and it lands, you know. So anyway, if I were to leave you with a bit of advice here just to close up, is you need power. Power is not a bad thing. You know, there are different types of power. There's power to dominate, which is what governments use and dictators and people with guns. And then there's power to influence, which is what the wise men use and the religious people, okay? And then there is the power